A drone shot of a desolate, sun-baked road stretching through dry fields. The camera slowly pans toward a massive gated mansion, standing alone on the edge of a humble village. In a quiet village surrounded by dry fields and dusty roads, there stood a house that looked more like a palace. Inside lived a man named Malik. Malik was known by everyone, but not for good reasons. He spoke a lot, too much. He lied easily. He broke promises without guilt. And when it helped him, he used words like weapons. He possessed every luxury the world could offer, yet he lacked the one thing that truly mattered: humanity. To him, people were merely stepping stones, and kindness was a weakness he could not afford. Malik counting stacks of money, a look of supreme arrogance on his face. The title appears on screen: True Wealth. Today we follow the journey of Malik, a man who believed that gold could unlock every door and purchase every heart. But life has its own unique way of teaching lessons. In this story, we will witness how a single stormy night and a destitute stranger shook the foundations of Malik's world. This is not just a story about money, it is a story about the poverty that can exist even amidst piles of gold, and the solitude that comes to those who value profit over people. The pride of wealth. Visual. Malik shouting at his employees in a glass-walled office. He looks at them with disdain, tossing papers onto the floor. Malik believed that respect was not something earned, but something bought. His employees stood before him with heads bowed, not out of reverence, but out of fear. Malik often said, "Everything in this world has a price tag, and if it cannot be sold, it is useless." He moved through life with a heavy stride, crushing the spirits of those around him with sharp insults and dismissive waves. One afternoon, Malik decided to travel to a neighboring city to close a deal that would double his fortune. He walked past his chauffeur, keys in hand. He chose to drive his most expensive car, a machine of sleek black metal and roaring power. He felt that even the road should bow before his wealth. "I do not need a driver," he scoffed. "I know every path, and if I get lost, my money will pave a new way back." The luxury car speeding down a highway. Malik is on the phone, speaking aggressively. The journey began with the roar of an engine. Malik spent the first hour screaming into his phone, closing deals and breaking promises, just as was his habit. "Trust me," he told a partner on the line, "but tomorrow never comes." He was so intoxicated by the sound of his own voice, so wrapped up in his bubble of importance, that he failed to notice when he missed the exit for the main highway. He turned onto a desolate, unpaved road, driving deeper into the unknown. The sun begins to set, casting long shadows. The car is now on a rough dirt track. Steam suddenly billows from the hood. As the evening approached, the sky turned a bruised purple. The smooth hum of the engine was suddenly replaced by a violent coughing sound. Smoke hissed from the hood, clouding the windshield. Malik slammed his hands on the leather steering wheel in a fit of rage as the car sputtered and died. Silence descended instantly. There were no city lights, no passing cars, only the vast, empty stretch of dry trees and sand. Malik stepped out, his polished shoes sinking into the dust. He pulled out his expensive phone, holding it up like a talisman against the encroaching dark. "No service." The words stared back at him. For the first time in years, a cold shiver of anxiety traced his spine. His credit cards, his reputation, his millions. Here, in this wilderness, they were utterly meaningless. Malik looking around frantically. The darkness is growing thicker. He looks vulnerable. The darkness spread rapidly, accompanied by a biting wind. Malik felt a dryness in his throat. He reached back into the car for water, but the bottle was empty. The man who opened $1,000 bottles of wine without a second thought was now desperate for a single sip of water. In the distance, Barely visible against the horizon, he saw a faint flicker of orange light, a glint of hope. He adjusted his silk coat, grabbed his leather briefcase, and began to walk toward the light. Malik arriving at a dilapidated hut. Inside, an old man, Baba, sits on a woven mat. The walk was long and brutal on his unaccustomed feet. When Malik finally reached the source of the light, he found a small, fragile hut. The walls were made of mud and straw, trembling in the wind. The door stood ajar. Inside, an old man sat on the bare earth, eating a piece of dry bread. His clothes were tattered, worn thin by time, yet his face held a strange, deep serenity. Malik entered without knocking. "Hey, old man," Malik shouted, his voice dripping with its usual authority. "My car has broken down. I need water, and I need you to arrange transport to the city immediately.